Hello, everybody. Friday evening. If anybody is joining from the other side of the pond on Saturday morning, appreciate it. My name is Wei. I have Coach Asha and Mr. David on the line. We're super excited to announce next year's leadership program. So if you are here for something else, we can stay and answer your questions. And this is part 2 of our new season, new school year announcement, program announcement. Early this Wednesday, we announced the JV varsity program. So if you missed that, let us know. We could send a recording, but this one is to announce the leadership program. Okay, so it's agenda super simple. We're gonna just show you what is the new leadership program about and all the nitty-gritties related to the program. But before we start, really we wanna kind of take a step, just say, hey, what is the vision? Why we even do this? Not sure why it's missing the lovely picture over there, apologize. And our vision of the leadership program is really to empower and inspire the young leaders, right? Our middle schoolers and high schoolers to find their voice and engage in meaningful projects and actively contribute to their community through impactful services. Leadership, to me, as a college counselor, independent educational consultant, it's a very overly used word, right? But if we think about it, what does it mean? Leadership doesn't mean having a title in a school club, right? That's really just maybe the beginning. It's never the end. So it's through some type of meaningful work to help you to find the voice, help you to establish or maybe enhance the community. Those are the things you should be excited about, and hence that's the vision of our leadership program. Okay, I want to highlight some leadership team. We had the first backing person club, right? We have been running the leadership club for a couple of years, but this year, well, technically it's still this year since it's wrapping up in July, and this is the first year we're coming back in person. So we had 7 active members, started a little bit smaller but mighty, right? Because if you look at the accomplishment, they have run 2 full-size tournaments and in-person. Those are in-person tournament. And December last year was the biggest in-person tournament we have ever run, right? 60 plus competitors, probably more than 80 entries. April, we run another one. It's about 40 plus. It's not that we can't run bigger one. We just want to control that and make sure everybody has a good experience. We cap it around 40 competitors. And both tournament has run smoothly. We have multiple volunteers on site. And so both of them were fantastically run tournament. Kudos to them. Then in addition, part of the tournament, there was some fundraising as well. And knowing that even the team didn't have very high expectations, but especially the December one, that was fantastic. They raised a lot of money and to enable the team really to do additional stuff, right? $250 plus funds raised, and just by selling the raffle tickets. I'm sure parents, if you were there, some of you received very nice prize. And this year, we also had a very unique project has been run during the NSDA Nationals Week. Our very own leadership team member, Ivy, she has started a documentary, right? During the NSDA, that was part one. Essentially interviewed 25 AAPI, Asian American and Pacific Islanders, to interview their speech and debate experience. And there were a lot of insightful conversations. So she is in the middle of post-production. Hopefully we can release that documentary in a couple weeks. Super excited. So that was a passion project was accomplished. Okay, we do have some things learned. I'm gonna have Coach Asha to kind of take over. She being the advisor and coach for this.
Yes, so I had the fortune of coming on and helping with the leadership program this year. And I talked to the students as well as observations that we are ready to really dive even more into leadership and what that means. So one of the things is there is a need for more individual and group training. I think there's this misnomer that we just throw the students out and see if they can sink or swim, but there needs to be a fundamental foundation of structure that they can follow. They can learn how to be leaders. So we discussed that's something going forward, to have more individual and group training, teaching them how to be leaders, how to be better leaders going forward. Then the other thing is, like I said, we have had amazing success running the QD tournaments, and the students are ready for more of a challenge. To take on more opportunities. So the bigger projects. So we've already kind of previewed a little bit about talking about passion projects, which we're going to talk about more so. But yeah, we're ready to really give them more opportunities to spread their wings. Next is applicable skills. So we want to make sure that we're not creating leadership inside of a box where they only are doing one thing, they only learn one thing. So they want more skill scaffolding that will help them in life and beyond. So giving them real world skills that they can take with them even after doing this leadership program. And finally, leadership outside the box speaks to community building, that we want them to build a community amongst themselves, also reaching out to other leaders, learning from other leaders, because that's how you build a network. That's how you meet people that you will have take those experiences, take those things you've learned, but also take those people as you continue down your path. You never know. It's what I learned in life. It's, who you know. Sometimes it can be a real difference as you go along your path. So we want to really learn how to build that community outside of just QD.
So one thing I want to mention, just to add on this, right? So you might be wondering, oh, my son or my daughter has plenty of leadership opportunities, all the CSF, the NHS, and maybe other things. However, what we observe over the years is those are usually the student-run clubs are not consistently providing the trainings, providing that know-how, right? It's usually, it's either the worst is the club is inactive. Essentially, you have a structure, but not really doing anything meaningful. Something better is maybe their advisor a little bit more active, but still not enough training, leadership training, and not enough opportunity for you to gain that hands-on, opportunities.
So with that said, we are ready to launch into our new program. We're going to talk a little bit about that, and kind of adding on is to what Wei said is we don't want leaders in name only. We want leaders who actually are leaders. So with that said, we are going to have a new model for our leadership program. The first part of that is more hands-on. So yes, they will be doing, some things will be familiar, but some things, especially for our new families, will be new, brand new, and we'll talk about those as well. So hands-on tournament operations, service projects. So we do expect the students to, again, like we said, serve in our community, serve in our community here at QD, and get service hours. And the passion project, which we will talk about a little bit more in detail. There will also be regular meetings, and these meetings will include a leadership training component. This includes guest speakers, meetings where they will go over the things that they are supposed to be doing in terms of their officer duties, but as well as training. Like I said, there will be a heavy emphasis and part of those meetings on training. And finally, most importantly, community, that they will have an opportunity to get together. We'll have an opportunity to expand and go to some leadership conferences, which we're really excited to give them the opportunity to do. So here's a kind of outline of what we're looking at. These will be 90-minute meetings. Our first meeting is going to be a kickoff, so that will be a half-day comprehensive meeting where they will get them up and running, get them some things that they need to get started, and do some voting on officers and such. But they will be usually about the third Sunday of the month, concluding at the end of the year with a banquet where we'll celebrate their leadership accomplishments. For the fall and winter, that's when they will be learning the leadership principles. That's where the bulk of the training will take place. And then for the passion projects, they will also be using those meetings to plan out the passion project and work on voting on that and getting that up and running. So speaking of the big change, so this is going to be like a curriculum class style lecture series. So there's 2 steps to the training. The step 1 to the training is, like I said, is group training. This will include topics every month. This will include discussion. This will include quizzes. So this is like an actual like leadership course, like a training series. There will also be individual training, which we can discuss a little bit more in detail for the officers, for anyone who takes on a specific role, but this is for everyone. Everyone in the program will undergo the leadership training series. This is for everyone. So the topics include things like, what is leadership? So learn what it means and how to be an effective leader. Understanding your leadership style, so discover your leadership style. Communication and leadership, learn about and how to employ communication strategies. Developing your leadership skills, so developing time management, project planning, goal setting, and other valuable skills. The value of service, understanding the power of service and appreciation. Problem solving, learn how to take risks, navigate conflict and resolution, and be a team player. So this is just a snapshot of the topics that will be taught more in depth in the actual meetings. Like so the first part of the meeting will be a lecture series, training series, and there will be a syllabus that they'll be following for that.
If I can add on to this, if I just carve out one piece, right? Communication in leadership. What we observe is students, oftentimes they are not proactively communicating, right? It's often like, oh, things not happen, and then say, oops, I forgot, right? So this is the time we actually want to model for them, teach them what is the best practice, how you should do those proactive communications, so they know exactly what can be done, right, in different scenarios.
Yeah, I'm actually very excited about this series because this is the same level as you will see similar leadership programs at some of the university, like top level universities across the country. This is the same sort of training that a lot of businesses actually employ because there's such an emphasis and importance on these different topics. So I'm very excited to launch this curriculum and guiding the students and learning these high level skills that they'll actually need, like not just within this program, but like I said, as I mentioned, they're going to take these on as they go into college and into their careers. So I'm very excited about that. Passion project. We're very excited about this as well. So one of the things we talked about before is that the students are ready for a challenge. And we were had a unique opportunity at NSDA to have Ivy, one of our students, go, as we talked about, and do a documentary style on AAPI competitors and coaches. We wanted to take that same idea and challenge the students this year to take on a new idea, a new project, a challenge, and work on it together and launch it. So no longer just us telling them run tournaments, we want them to come up with that. So a passion project refers to a personal endeavor and undertaking that is driven by individuals' deep interest, enthusiasm, dedication towards a particular topic, skill, or cause. We're going to give some possible ideas of what they could do this year, but like I said, this is going to be a big project. This is not a small thing. This is literally something that they will remember. This is something that they will be able to put on their college applications of having completed. And so I'm so excited for these students to really dig into something that's going to challenge them. So this could be offering free educational program at school or local community. Like maybe they go out into their community and they have to set up a class teaching speech and debate to a community, underrepresented community. That would be really great. They'd have to figure that out because we're not going to do it for them. They could organize a TEDx youth event, which I've seen some schools are starting to do. And I think that's a really great opportunity if we can be approved to do that. They could do a speech and debate outreach program. So some of the ideas I was talking about is doing something with the younger students and mentorship. So whatever it is that the group decides, the goal is that they're passionate about it and that they have to figure it out. That is going to be on them. We will assist them, we will guide them, but we're taking off the training wheels and we're going to help them to really fly beyond just, far beyond the reaches of what we could even imagine within the project. So it's going to be very exciting.
One more idea I just want to add on. I was, while you're talking about, I was thinking, what if we can actually interview some speech and debate alumni, right, who have graduated from any program, not just limited to QD, just see what are the benefits, because we have been kind of, essentially keep mentioning about those skills, but I think it's another thing just to learn from or hear from the actual member who have done that journey, right? So that would be a fantastic kind of data collection project and interview series, just to interview those who have done speech and debate in a long time.
Yes, I think, like I said again, obviously we plan to continue to do this program beyond just this year, but it'll be very exciting to see what the students decide to take on as a challenge. And I do want to note here that we are not going to be limiting the students. The goal, at least for me for this passion project, is I want to inspire students to individually challenge themselves as leaders, but as a group as well, learn how to work with others. So like Ivy took on the NSDA, there is going to be flexibility and possibility that they could do this as a team, that they could do this individually, but the goal is that they will be challenged. And that's what we really want to hit home, is that this leadership is not supposed to be easy and handed to you on a silver platter. We want them to really be pushed creatively, critical thinking wise, like really develop them as leaders. So yes. And then, so hands-on. So they will have a lot of hands-on opportunities. There is set tournament operations. So those are every year we have those set in. We have 3 tournaments we do during the season: fall, spring, and summer. So those will be set in tournament operations. Service projects. So they will have, this is outside of their officer duties. So they will have some sort of community service that they will do between September and November for the fall, and then between January and March for the spring. So we do try to be mindful of like things like state testing, AP testing, stuff like that, holidays. So we're going to really be pushing them to get them done within the time frame so we can make sure they get that done. And then the passion project is year round. Like I said, they will start in the fall in terms of planning and putting that together, and then that will be launched in the spring. So very excited. They're going to get lots of hands-on opportunities. And then here's an example of what they can do to earn their volunteer hours. So each tournament is usually about 12 hours. So that's up to 36 hours. Service project, I should say each tournament is not 12 hours long, but that includes
organizing. Yeah.
Drop them off during the night and we'll see you next day. This includes planning the tournament, pulling together the supplies, anything that goes into putting that tournament together. So 12 hours up to 36 hours. Service project, like I said, they will do some sort of community service, 4 hours to 8 hours. Meeting hours, those are included since they have to do those 1.5 hours up to 15 hours. Passion projects could be about 40+ hours. Knowledge share and interview, there will be some interviewing up to 4 hours. Outside tournament judging, that's a great way to get some extra add-on hours. And then TAing, so if you have a student or if you've seen our classes, sometimes you will have students TAing, teacher assistant, and they've been invaluable asset during our class summer camps. There will also be additional volunteer opportunities, add-on hours. So we really want to make sure they get some service in this year.
Yep, summer will be the best time to TA, right, Patricia? Yeah, we have
schedule-wise, yes. I mean, they
multiple.
can TI during the rest of the year, but noting that, especially for our high school students, they have busy schedules. Most of our high schoolers choose to TA in the summer. Also for TAing, I just want to clarify that to TA, they do need to be in high school. So unfortunately, middle schoolers are not able to TA at this time, but middle schoolers can do all of the other opportunities in terms of earning hours. And we mentioned this because if they hit the hours, if many parents, especially those who have students who need to get volunteer hours, may be familiar with the President's Volunteer Service Award. You have to hit a certain number of hours in order to qualify for a certain level in the award. So at minimum, it's 50 hours for teens, and this is the bronze, 75 to 99 hours for the silver, and 100+ hours for the gold. So we really want to challenge our students to, once they get their hours, and I'll let Wei kind of speak to this a little bit more, but we will submit that record to get their certification for the President's Service Award. When we're going to speak to that.
Yep. Anyway, so I think that's again, this will be part of resume building, right? So if you look at all the leadership stuff, we actually, by looking at running the leadership for a number of years, and we really just retain and also grow the service and program that will be meaningful as an outcome of this program, right? All the training, it's going to be a lot of back and forth, just a lot of labor intensive things, but you still have to show in the end, especially college app or resume or anything. And when you apply to any job, right, you have to put, hey, what are the work experience / volunteer experience? So this is something we will help students to apply once you hit the limit. I mean, not the limits, the sky is the limit. So 100+ hours. Yeah.
Yes. So wrapping up the last couple program things. So community. So another big part of this is, we want the students to feel connected. So there will be some community building. There will be some opportunities for them to get together and work together. I should also mention that this program, though we're meeting on Sundays, I forgot to mention that this program is hybrid. So partially virtual, a lot of the meetings will be virtual, but then some of the meetings will be in person. So I just want to clarify that, especially for parents who are driving their students around a lot. Most meetings will be virtual, held online, and there will be specific ones that will be in person. Those will be noted in the syllabus that we'll be handing to students on the first day. But specifically for social gatherings, we will have our first meeting, 8:20, is a team kickoff and activity. So there will be a really fun activity plan. Should I spoil that now, or should I save that?
I think you can mention about that. Yeah.
Okay, so we have planned to do an escape room. So really great team building. And there will also be lunch, and we will also have beginning of the lecture series. So it's going to be a great day for everyone to get to know each other. That's also where we vote for the officers. So that's a great day to come and see who's running for what positions, to get to know each other, to meet the rest of the team and the advisors. So it's going to be really great half-day activity day. Then we'll have a holiday gathering, and this will be in person. Have some great ideas for that as well. Team bonding, it'll be a lot of fun. And at the end of the year is a club banquet. This is where we'll celebrate everyone and just wrap up the year, talk about the accomplishments. We also are offering a unique. So as someone who, when I was in college, I wish I had done this sooner. Going to conferences, especially if you're interested in going to college, especially if you go to a research college, conferences start to become something that become not just available to you, but become something that you start to do. But I wish I had done it sooner, because it really does introduce you to a larger, group of people who are doing the same thing that you're doing. It teaches you about presentation. It teaches you get to learn from others. So we want to give the students a chance to not only build their community, but also to see what it's like to go to a conference and learn about leadership, learn about these different topics and concepts that we may not even have thought of. So there will be a youth action summit in LA. So, and there may be some other conference opportunities.
Yeah. So this student conference, by the way, we had students, my high school students who went to early this year. He said he learned so much. It's actually a residential conference. That's why it's 2 days. It's in LA. You stay in a hotel, you mingle with, I don't know, hundreds of high schoolers. And I think middle school is eligible to join as well, but we'll provide more details. And after the conference, he said, is totally inspired. He said he's going to apply for the president at their regional group. And he has prepare all the interviews. And now he is, I think, running a committee within his region, essentially. So it's, by the way, this is the purpose of this is mostly to talk about, to learn how to, one is be a student leader at your school. Secondly is pick some type of initiative, passion project, right? Some type of initiative and learn how to solve that, okay? So it's super, super relevant. That's why we wanna integrate this with our curriculum and have a little bit more team building, community building, and at the same time, really have a venue for them to see other people's ideas and maybe passion project as well.
Yeah. So last but not least, we want to kind of surmise, what do we want the students to get out of this? What is going to be like the return on investment, the actionables that you'll be able to see by the end of the year? So the first is service hours. Every student should complete a minimum of 50 service hours. Really excited about this. This is an easy way to check off the volunteer requirements if they're high school students. But yeah, minimum of 50 hours. Officer position, we want them to take up, like that's the whole point of Leadership Club, is every member should be able to take on a leadership role or be in training as an officer. So for those middle school students, this is where they'll get some training. They will be directly under an officer and assisting. Complete the training. So the lecture series, like one of the things that I've actually built into the curriculum is if they miss a series, every meeting will be recorded. They will need to watch it and complete a quiz. There is built in, like they need to complete each module in order to move on to the next one. So they need to attend and complete all trainings. The launch of the passion project. So successfully plan, assist, and launch an individual or team passion project. And then build a community, work as a team and build a long-term community. So these are the actionables that you'll be able to say at the end of the year, my student completed these things. The students will be able to say, we did these things. It helps create an accountability of being able to say, this is what's going to happen during the year. Did we accomplish it? Yes. Turn it over to you, Yue, to.
Sure. Okay. So I mean, this
Fun part.
really sounds great, right? So I think parents may be wondering, hey, how much does that cost? All right, so I'm gonna kind of, without further ado, let's talk about the cost. It does pack a ton of things, all the training and everything, all the social gathering. Actually, we will be able to absorb everything, includes everything, except few things, which I'm gonna give you the details. So first of all, actually, just like any other club or program, that we need to make sure you know exactly what you are signing up for, right? So we want you to do that application, and we will review that. If there are any interview required, we will do that. So, but this is good news, is this is one time only once you're in, unless there's something going on, and you don't have to redo the application. So that is $25. Then the membership fee for the whole year, we're talking about for the whole year, August through July, and that's the membership fee. And if I can get some drum roll, no, I'm kidding, it's okay. All right, so remember, if you were at the JV varsity info session, we talk about we will announce some type of combo deal. And this is it. So if you are a JV varsity member, we are gonna give you a huge discount. It's $875. I believe it's 25 or 30% off. Okay, so that is the fee. But I'm gonna talk about what are included, what's not. So there's it's clear. So what's included is really most of it, like all the leadership training series, guest speakers, social gatherings, escape room costs. It's all part of the program. And we also have the club shirts, which is gonna have some type of logo, right, Coach Asha? Do you want to mention that? Maybe if you miss our JV varsity info session, we announce there will be a team mascot for our QD team overall. So what is it again?
We are honey badgers.
QD honey badgers. I think I actually was not familiar with honey badgers. We should send a video about this. It's really fun and hardworking, right? And I think it represents our team really, really well. So, but we're gonna announce this a little bit more, and even the design, the members might be able to give us a little bit input before we finalize it. So the additional cost is the Youth Action Summit. That is about, I think this year they charge about $650. So that seems a little bit pricey, but at the same time does include the hotel costs and everything, the 2-day conference. So it is, I think it's a reasonable thing, but you can consider that in the budget. Then for the Presidential Volunteer Service Awards, there's some processing fee. We have to go through my partners to process that. So it's $250. Then the club banquet, that we will host that in a venue, and we'll try to, this is just budgeting purpose, around $100. Hopefully we can do or cheaper, or that's something we can control, and let the team know beforehand. So those are the cost details, and we don't foresee anything else. But again, just having those numbers probably help you to budget this a little bit more. Okay, now where do you apply? This is the link. I'm gonna copy that on the Zoom link, and the application, it should be very straightforward. And with that said, I think that is really the end of the presentation. I want to see if anyone has any questions. And okay, I just posted. By the way, I included the next, I forgot that to put on the slides, is we do have part 3 of our new program launch series, which will be on July 26th. We just announced JV varsity, and now this time is the leadership, and next one is everything else. What's upcoming, what's our regular classes, we'll be announcing on July 26th. You can RSVP. Okay. Anyone have any
application deadline? So the application deadline, I believe is,
let's see, then we put, you should really apply before August 1st, because that's when the well, really gets apply way earlier, probably sometime by mid-July. I have to double check on the deadline. Then you have enough time to be part of the team, and August 20th is our target launch date. Oh, one thing I do want to mention, we put a lot of dates there, right? And you might be checking, oh, okay, there's a ton of conflict, right? And I have this class, my child has this class here and there. And well, I want to say those are not like set in stone dates. and there's still some flexibility. We do want to provide something so you can, for planning purposes. And we know in spring, there are a lot of speech and debate tournament will be coming up. They haven't published the dates. We might, inevitably, we might have to adjust here and there. The best thing about this is still kind of, it is sort of, one is teacher coach driven because their leadership series, right? But the other part is really student driven. We want them to talk about some issues and really make decisions on their own, including the schedule. So if everybody is collectively say, hey, this is a better day, we'll just work with the coach and just giving constraint will kind of make it happen.
Yeah, to add on to that, we will kind of have some structure. So generally meetings should be either the second or third Sunday. We did pick Sundays because those are usually the better days for most students. And most of the time the meetings will be in the late afternoon, evening. The first meetings are set. So like I said, the August meeting, that one is set. The first September meeting most likely will be set. But going forward, the students will, that's part of their leadership, is to start voting on, quorum. So that's a word we use in terms of meeting terminology, is that you need to have a certain number of members to have a meeting. So if there is, we want to keep it simple so that students, because sometimes students will find like, oh, I can't make it because I have this. And then everyone's like, oh yeah, I have this. So it's like, especially that's why we kept it virtual. Like even if you're in the car, you can log in. So there will be some flexibility, but there also is some structure because we don't want to get students overwhelmed with too many choices and too many things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, the other thing I just want to emphasize on is this, unfortunately, the program has to be open to in-person only, like local geographically, right? Because there are a lot of in-person component to that. It's just, it will be a little bit harder if you live in Seattle, then you can't really participate a lot of the service projects locally, plus the tournaments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Any other questions about the leadership program or the changes we have coming?
Are you recording my question?
Oh, wait, say that one more time.
So if I ask question, are you recording?
Right now it's all recorded. If you don't want to say
it's okay. It's okay. I have a lot of questions.
You have a lot of.
So, okay. So
yeah.
Quick, let me ask questions. Okay. How frequent do you run this yearly, right? I initially thought you only select people to run the tournament. Actually, it's not. It's actually a program, and you, there are a lot of benefit. I can see a lot of benefit, right? You give out the volunteer service hours. The student have a lot of opportunity to practice leadership skills. I think this is a good program. You don't limit number of people, right?
We don't.
Said only 7 people. Somewhere you said it's not. It doesn't matter. However many you can recruit, you will have them, right?
Correct.
And how did you get out if they don't want to continue? You just drop out, or?
Oh, you mean
once enrolled, do you go year by year, or how is it going to work?
Yeah, it's year by year. Yeah. Okay. So if they're for whatever personal reason, it's going to be kind of case by case. And obviously, if you can no longer, you got selected by doing something else that creates conflict, we can have a conversation. But in general, once you enroll, it's for the school year. We do want you to enjoy the full benefit, right? Have a full right to see what the full program offers.
Yeah. Yeah, and how does this relate to the regular class? I'm thinking of Leon. If once he joined this leadership program,
Yeah.
he doesn't need to register any class anymore, or is it?
You can see the scope is pretty different, right? So we focus on the reason we call leadership is really focus on leadership. We don't focus on the competitive speech and debate aspect too much, except we will be on the other side to be judges, to operate the tournament, right? Other than to be competitor.
I missed Thursday presentation about the GV varsity program. What is
Sure.
that?
That's our competitive speech and debate program.
That's what David said about, Stanford and those things, right?
Yeah, they get to travel with us, but for the most part, it's really to push them to kind of pursue higher goals in competitive speech and debate. So it could be attending those travel tournament. It could be attending regional tournaments. Just a lot of opportunities. We can send you, if you're interested, we can send you a recording on that.
I think I got an email. I have recorded.
Oh, you got an email. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. If you sign up RSVP, yeah, we actually forward the recording already.
So yeah, how many times total? It's like a regular class, but less in only 5 or 6 time meeting total from August 27th all the way August 20th, right? How many meetings? I think similar number of
meeting. Yeah, meetings you can consider it's almost like a monthly meeting, once a month. Then they are additional. Then we have so many other stuff that will require, but it's I think budget time management wise, it's very, very manageable. Very, very manageable. I would say on average, Coach Asha, maybe monthly is we're talking about with the meeting, with the passion project, maybe I would say can be controlled between 5 to 10 hours. I would say that's very manageable.
The meeting usually happens Sunday morning.
Sunday, no, evening, actually, usually. Yes,
Okay.
because Sunday morning you still have church. A lot of people go to church, so usually Sunday evening has
some
minimum conflict. Hopefully.
And if there is, we can always adapt that to but Sundays are the primary we found is the least busy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think this program is a pretty good program.
John, let me answer you a little bit question. So you mostly, I think Leon can combine the speech debate, the JV varsity team, plus the leadership. Leadership is another way, from the judge side to learn more about speech debate and combine together to become the leadership.
Yeah. Yeah, I can tell now. I understand.
Yeah, the more detail we can discuss. Yeah, don't worry.
Yeah, the reason we created that combo is it was so nice. I think I'll mention that on Wednesday. JV varsity is really sort of academic activity, and what is the term that's we always use? It's an intellectual marathon, right? So, but at the same time, it's not challenging you to solve problems, real world problems. And for the leadership program is really to make it whole, essentially, right? And just to see, hey, what's out there? How do I actually practice those skills I learned from speech and debate and use it in real projects? That's how you make it complete in some way.
I see another question. If we can only do one program for the upcoming year, which one we recommend? I would go ahead and start taking a stab at this one, and then Wei wants to add on.
Sure.
So first of all, just to go with the JV varsity, I think referring to between the JV varsity and leadership. JV varsity, first of all, I think it's kind of weighing what the goals are. So JV varsity, not everyone qualifies for JV varsity. So if your student hasn't met the class or competition requirements, leadership doesn't have that requirement. So more students may be able to join leadership. Outside of that too, it's also what the goal is. If a student is ready to be competitive, if they want to compete, definitely JV varsity in All Stars offers a great opportunity to start building that. But if this is a new student, then leadership may be a great place to start in terms of skill building, why they maybe take some classes on speech and debate before they're eligible for JV varsity. So it really just depends. One thing we do say though too for JV varsity, yeah, I think it just depends on what the student's individual goal and needs are. So Wade, do you add on to that?
I think the way I look at it is, if you are in high school, right? Regardless what we tell you, it's regardless what program you need to do, all those will be somewhat required if you are shooting, if you have higher goals, because this leadership program is something I personally look at. There's a lot of, there are actually organizations just focus on passion project, and you pay big dollars to do that passion project, right? And you have research project, all kinds of things that is meant to enrich programs, enrich students' experience. But the way we do this is we want students to do that authentically, right? And also, and there are always time conflict and the budget constraints. You have to kind of, the student needs to drive this process. What is the thing you want to develop, or goals you want to set for this year? Do I want to spend more time on a competitive track? Boom, let's actually prioritize on JV varsity. Or this year, I actually want to learn more leadership. I want to get hands-on. So next year I can take on more leadership, and I can peak my leadership opportunities at the junior year. Then you should really start considering maybe do it at the 8th grade or 9th grade for the leadership, right? So there always things, there are always push and pull, and you have to decide it. And hopefully it's by combining this deal, it's not kind of prevent you from, budget-wise, does not prevent you from doing both. I do see customers actually say, hey, let's go ahead do both. I'm gonna stick to QD, which I say thank you so much. We'll do a good job to provide that coaching and mentoring for both programs.
Yes, and then adding on to their second one. So if you decide to join the leadership program, that does not exclude, I want to clarify, the JV varsity and All-Star program does not mean that our regular class students, competitive track students, can't compete in tournaments. So even if you decide to do leadership, you can still compete in the QD tournament, you can still compete in the regional state tournaments. It's just the students who are on the JV varsity are committing to, I think, a higher competitive competition level. They're more, like, that is their goal and their focus. And they also get, as we mentioned on Wednesday, they get to do some more of the travel out of state tournaments, national tournaments. So if your student wants to do leadership and just start their competitive process, all of our competitive track students, we encourage to start doing competitions at the regional and QD level. So that is still always open, regardless of if you do JV varsity. Just JV varsity has a different focus and additional add-ons, such as the private ties, like individualized coaching and travel and training. Right, Wei?
Can I expand on that question? So I think question is, decide to join leadership program, can she still participate at the tournament? I would say it is maybe, it will be, obviously your time will be limited, right? So if you want to volunteer on the other side, you're not going to be able to participate. But at the same time, we do have 3 opportunities we don't want to slow you down if your goal is to progress in parallel, right? Which we really happy to see students stretch themselves, right? Maybe say spring-wise, focus on the competitive track. So do the QD tournament if you want. So you cut back on the volunteer, just do the volunteer on running the tournament on fall and summer, right? Then you focus on, because, you know, and NSDA is coming up and other tournament is coming up. You just want to use the internal tournament that time to get you ready. You could do that. Yeah, the goal is we have enough volunteers and enough manpower so you can rotate. Everybody can rotate.
Any other questions? And I do want to just like sort of emphasize, like, again, if you are trying to consider outside of, like you said, if your student qualifies for both leadership and JV varsity, I think another little note to throw in there is, besides they have to want to do one or the other, is also just, again, remember, this is, you can come back to these programs, you know, high school, varsity, JV varsity, we will always have that opportunity available throughout their formative, you know, educational years. So definitely don't be afraid to start with one and maybe pick up others. We also, again, with the JV varsity, we have rolling dates. So if you start with leadership and you do want to add on, we do have rolling dates for that as well to add that on later on. Right, Wei?
Yes, yes. And one thing promise when we send the recording was set the definitive kind of deadline for the membership. So there's no confusion on that. For the most part, maybe August 1st could be the deadline, but we'll clarify and send that out.
Yep.